Hi everybody! Welcome to our Humane at Home for Wildlife Wednesday. Apparently we missed our song, but we'll play it again for you guys if you want it later. I hope you're all doing safe out there, and I know I'm touching my face, but I just want to let you know that we're being safe here at San Diego Humane Society. Everyone's wearing their masks, they got their gloves, we're hand sanitizing. I'm just going to take it off because I can't see because it fogs up my glasses. So welcome my friends. I hope you guys are all having a great Wednesday today. We are here for Wildlife Wednesday, and I don't know if you've seen one of our wonderful ambassadors, but this is our ambassador Moki. He is a common raven, and we actually have a mic near him. So he does like to mimic and say some words from time to time, so we're trying to hopefully catch it for you guys. So if you hear the little pitter-patter of feet, it's just because that we have the mic there. But just like most animals do, he will probably not talk as soon as we went and start recording him. But if we don't get a recording of him and haven't been able to share it with you guys, we'll post it in the comments when we come up a little bit later. Real quick before we get started, my friends, we're going to be talking about the difference between crows and ravens. But I wanted to do one last final push for you guys to let you know that our Humane at Home contest is still going on, and you guys have until this Friday. This Friday to submit your artwork for us, and then voting's going to start on Saturday, May 9th. Some of the prizes are going to include a $20 gift card. Lovejoy is one of our artists, so she'll have an art kit that we can share with you guys, some SDHS swag bag with really fun stuff inside of there. And remember, it's completely open to all ages, and we are really excited because, guys, look at some of these amazing artworks that we have come in. There's a beautiful owl, and it looks like a fox or even maybe a coyote. Then we have our little ducklings and a red-tailed hawk. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear him, but he's saying, "Hi, Moki." We can just have me not talk, and let's just have Moki. Oh, good job, buddy. So that is our handsome raven. And then look at this beautiful duck, my friends. This is a beautiful mallard. Moki's going to try to steal a show from me, you guys. One other thing I wanted to mention is that May 9th is also World Migratory Bird Day. For some of you guys who may not know, San Diego lies on 3 migratory flyways. They're like highways, but they're flyways for birds. So any different time of year, during summertime and wintertime, we have different birds coming through San Diego. And the theme of this year's Migratory Bird Day is that birds connect our world. And really that's trying to show the importance of conserving different habitats. So when they're flying from super far north and they're going really far south, we want to make sure that the habitats that they stop and hang out in, one of them is San Diego, that they have plenty of habitats to make sure that they have that wonderful space, food, water, shelter, resources available for them so they can make that entire pathway down. But these guys are super amazing, my friends. We have a ton of different migratory birds here in San Diego. Almost every single bird in San Diego is a migratory species, so they are federally protected. But we just want to make sure that we're helping to make sure that we're preserving some of our environment so that they can have that connectivity between the different sites. A few different things that you guys can do to help migratory birds is to make a bird-friendly garden, make sure it has shelter, maybe a bird bath. We want to make sure that we watch out after our pets, keeping an eye on our cats and our dogs, and make sure that they can't get to some of these birds. Tell other people about the importance of our migratory birds and the habitats that they need to survive, and then downloading some really fun apps, some birding apps that you can take pictures of and share some of the information that we're learning about the different birds that are coming through. We are going to talk about corvids today, not COVID, corvids. Corvids are a type of bird species, and it's going to include ravens, crows, magpies, and jays. They are super intelligent birds, my friends. These guys are some of the most highly intelligent birds out there. Really great memory. They are super curious. They're really sociable. Some of them have even learned how to solve problems, and these guys are really great at using tools. And then again, that word opportunist, meaning they're going to take that opportunity to eat different food resources, use different habitats as much as possible. This is a really interesting fact, my friends. Their brain to body weight ratio is the same as among the largest of the birds, and it's actually compared to cetaceans, which are dolphins and whales, great apes, and only slightly lower than a human. So if you like dolphins and whales and apes because of how smart they are, then we should really like these birds because they're just as smart as well. And these guys are so curious about different things going on in their environment. And corvids are found all throughout the world, my friends, from all sorts of different habitats. But we are going to focus on some of the two most common that we see, and it's crows and ravens. Does anyone out there know how to tell the difference between a crow and a raven? If you don't, you're going to find out today. But let's talk a little bit about this handsome fellow that you're seeing right in front of you. This is Moki. There he goes. Moki is a Hawaiian word for rascal because these guys can be really mischievous. Moki actually came into Project Wildlife in 2000, so he's hitting his 20-year birthday this year. He came in as a hatchling, so he was just hatched, could have fallen out of the tree, could have been pushed out of the tree, could have been tree trimmed. We are not 100% sure. But he had a wing injury when he came in, and unfortunately it didn't heal correctly for him to be able to be released back out to the wild to fly on his own. So he has become a great education ambassador, and as you can hear, he is great at imitating the sounds of his caregiver. So whenever his caregiver, Carol, would go out to see him in the morning, she says, "Hi, Moki."
What's up, what's up?
What's up, what's up? And maybe she laughs kind of crazy too, because he is mimicking his caregiver. That is, to him, his caregiver is kind of his mate. So when she comes out, he gets really excited and he hears her say, "Hi, Moki." So to Moki, that is her call. So he's making a call out for Carol since she's not here with us today. So he just wants to make sure that she knows that he is still missing her and very much in love with her. Question already, Miss Dariel.
Yes, Emily says that there's a crow in her neighborhood that people have been feeding, and so that crow is approaching people now. Is there anything that can be done?
So my friends, the question was that there's a crow in the neighborhood that people are feeding, and now that a crow is approaching people. I don't know if you guys remember, but some of our other Humane at Homes Wildlife Wednesdays, we really encourage people not to feed wild animals because just like that crow seems to be doing, he's becoming very habituated or used to humans. So he's going to start thinking that humans are the way that he gets food, and so we want to make sure that these guys maintain their natural abilities to find their own food and to make sure that they're looking for their own resources. And my friends, crows are extremely intelligent, so that's pretty much probably why that crow keeps coming over, because it only takes one time really to feed a crow for them to catch on that that's where their food is coming from. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather my food be delivered to me than me have to go cook it. So if they're gonna get food right to them, then they're gonna keep coming around. It's really, really important, you guys, that we really encourage people to let the wild animals find their own food, especially when it comes to a corvid, a really intelligent bird. Like I said, it doesn't take much for them to catch on that food is coming. Did you guys see him catch it? I don't know if it's too fast, but he's actually catching those in midair. He's getting mealworms right now. So real quick, good question though, my friends, but yeah, definitely just don't want to feed them. You don't want them to be coming and approaching people, because if someone comes new into the neighborhood and that crow comes to approach that person, they may think it's something dangerous and they may call in to make sure that someone might come and try to check out and see if that crow is okay. Here is a distribution map between the crows and ravens, so you guys can see that ravens are pretty well dispersed among the United States, except for that kind of middle part, and they're non-migratory, so these guys usually stay wherever they're born, as opposed to crows who do migrate through, and that's why crows are federally protected here in San Diego, because they come through San Diego and then they weren't stupid and they knew that San Diego was a beautiful spot to set up shop. And so now crows are doing really well. They're super prolific, just meaning that they're finding a lot of resources, able to have a lot of babies, and have those babies survive as well. But just some things about our common raven that we're looking at. These guys can be in so many different habitats, from the Arctic tundra to the really hottest of the deserts. Ravens are a really big symbol of wild country. Unlike their counterpart, the crow, that does really well in cities, ravens like to spend more time out kind of where there's less people around. So here in San Diego, we tend to see ravens a little bit more in the mountainous areas, kind of around Julian, maybe up in Campo, but they can be around from time to time, but we have a lot more crows here in the city than we do ravens. These guys are actually a really large bird. Ravens are about 2 times the size of crows. So ravens can weigh anywhere between about 2 pounds, maybe up to 3 or 4, where our American crow is usually about 1 pound. Crows are way more social than ravens are. So usually if you see a flock of black birds, just FYI, crows and ravens are the only fully black bird that we have here in North America. So if you see a big group of crows or big group of black birds, it's probably crows. And I don't know, does anyone know what a group of crows is called? A murder. Maybe not the best way to describe them, but ravens are usually going to be a singleton or maybe a mating pair unless there's a really great food source, maybe like a landfill or something like that. I don't know if anyone's been up to the California Wolf Center in Julian, but they have a ton of ravens over there because there's a lot of food available that they give to the wolves, and the ravens have caught on. So ravens like to live in a big old group up in Julian, but normally 1 or 2. Very acrobatic flyers. These guys like to do somersaults and rolls in the air, and the youngsters are super playful. They'll like to throw the sticks in the air or mid-air and catch them as they're falling down. They're super confident and inquisitive birds, and they can be a predator and they can be a scavenger. So that means they'll pick up dead animals, maybe rotting fruit, and these guys will pretty much eat anything. So what they'll go for is small animals, other birds, eggs, grasshoppers, beetles, scorpions, fish, buds, berries, pet food, any type of human food. So really great thing to make sure that if you are having any issues with crows or ravens, you want to remove the food source first thing and foremost. Nesting for the ravens right here, if you guys can kind of see, I don't know if you can take a look at this, Miss Dariel, but this is actually a raven's egg. So raven and crows both have a kind of greenish egg with brown spots along it. Super cool when they're learning to pick a mate. The male is going to soar and swoop and tumble in the air. And then once the mate is picked, they perch together and touch bills and preen each other. The nest site can usually be on the ledge of a cliff, or they like it in the nook of a tree. They're large nests. They can be about 5 feet in length. And you can see that they use sticks and twigs. They'll use hair. They'll use other things that they are finding in their environment that are super soft.
What's up?
These guys they're so awesome. Oh, we're stealing the show now. So what they'll do, the nest is actually going to be built by both a male and a female. Takes about 9 days. Female is going to sit on the eggs for about 28 days or so. And then once the babies are hatched, both parents will take responsibility in feeding the babies. And there's usually about 4 to 6 eggs in a nest. And total lifespan for a crow in the wild, for a raven in the wild, about 10 to 15 years old. The oldest known raven in the wild, 22 years old. I believe the oldest crow in the wild, Miss Teresa, do we know what the oldest crow was? I think he was about 25 years in the wild. But under human care, these guys can obviously live a little bit longer. So Moki here is now going on that 20th birthday. So these guys get breakfast in bed. They have a daily maid service. And these guys have a wonderful healthcare program.
What's up?
So real quick, let's go into the difference between a crow and a raven. Size, big difference. If you guys can look, this is a crow's beak, kind of like a songbird beak. It's very straight, kind of narrow. If you look at the raven's beak, it's got a big old honking top part of the nose. And that's going to be a really great way, see that big old ridge right there? So that's going to be a raven's beak versus the kind of tiny little songbird beak that the crows have. Obviously, look at that size difference between the crow and the raven. 1.5 meter wingspan compared to 0.75 meters for the crow. Here's that beak shape again, my friends, like I said, so if you can kind of see the straighter, smaller beak for the crow, definitely smoother neck compared to that big old honker that the raven has. And then if you're not able to see these guys actually that close up in the wild, it's going to be their tail feathers. So if you think of the name crow and raven, raven has a V right in the middle, so you kind of want to think of that tail shape that's in a V shape. Crow has the word row in it, and you kind of want to think of their tails more of a row shape. So that's one way that you can tell the difference between the two if they're flying above you. And then let me go ahead. This is not common raven noises that you're hearing right now. He's definitely a raven that's been habituated and knows his caregiver. But a common raven sound is going to be really low, kind of a gurgling croak compared to what crows do. So let's see. Let's make sure. I think I put this volume up. Oh. He's like, what was that? So that low gurgle sound, that's going to be a raven's call. A crow's call is going to be a little bit louder caw sound. Let's see. Can you tell the difference between the two? One's super low, one's a little bit higher. But again, both super intelligent animals, really important to have around. And guys, super, super smart. Crows actually can speak 3 different languages, and they can speak to each other. They're actually talking about you when you're walking your dog down the street to let other crows know that you're coming down with the dog. Ravens, super intelligent as well. They're able to stash their food. They're actually able to watch other birds stash their food as well, and so that they can go back and steal the food from the other birds. Did we have any questions, Miss Daryl? Because that is going to be the conclusion of our Wildlife Wednesday, difference between a crow and a raven. Remember, bigger ones are going to be the raven. You're going to see that V shape in the tail. Oh, someone's excited. So
You didn't get him to talk one more time?
That's a really great, that's more on him than me.
Hi, Moki.
See, my friends, we can't make these birds do anything. They're so smart. Super, super smart. But again, my friends, this is an ambassador raven. The only reason we have him is because he is a non-releasable animal. He would not be able to survive on his own in the wild. We have lots of fun permits to keep and make sure that we keep up to date in order to keep this bird under our care. And so that is the only way we are allowed to have him, is that we have those permits up to date, that we have a veterinarian on site, and that we make sure that we're providing the best care for these guys that we can possibly can. But without that, my friends, stay tuned for Friday. Get your photos in. If anyone wants to draw a picture of Moki here, I'm sure we would absolutely love it. And I'm not going to say I would vote for it, but I might vote for it. But take a look around. Remember, you can do any pets. You can do some of our adoptable animals. You can go outside and do a picture of the animal wildlife that you see around. You can do paint. You can use any type of way that you want to be creative. But we're really looking forward to your submissions. Remember, this Friday, send them in, and then voting's going to start on Saturday, Migratory Bird Day. All right, my friends, thank you all so much for joining us today. We'll see you back here on Friday. Can we do one more? Nope.